Hello friends, welcome back to Elfin Around, where we always have an elfin good time. So today we have an interesting costume for our elf. My daughter loves Blippi, and I was trying to think of how best I can do this, and I really wanted to do it inexpensively. So we used some gray felt for the pants. We used some orange foam for the suspenders, the bow tie, and part of the hat, and then also for the shoe coverings. And we also used some blue fabric for the shirt. And I didn't show it here, but we did use some blue foam board as well. So we're gonna start with the pants. Bear with me, this is a long one, you guys, but it's kind of, if you have a pattern that you'd like to use for pants, please go ahead and do it. I did end up using one for the shirt, and I'll explain that to you in a little bit when we get to it. But with the pants and with felt, I feel like it's a lot easier just to kind of measure around the waist, and I kind of just make sure I have enough room to groove. I trace around the elf's legs, and then I go ahead and sew it. So right here you could see that it's 16 centimeters, or for us US, 6¼ inches. That's the widest part of the elf's waist. So I just make sure after I'm done tracing that it does equal a little bit more than that, just so I have some room to go ahead and sew it up. Also, I'm just gonna say this, with felt, you could probably get away with hot gluing it. I do sew it just because I like the longevity of it. My plan is to bring these kits to work so my girls at work can go ahead and use them as well, and it's not just one person using it. So I'm trying to share the wealth here. So we're gonna go ahead and put our elf on one side. So you could see I laid down the measurement to make sure that I had enough room to fold over the felt. And I'm just gonna use a gray marker and just trace around the elf's legs. Now, I did say in previous videos, I usually don't use the patterns, like the sewing patterns that you can get, but I found this really amazing website that already had the elf clothing pattern on it, and I'm gonna share that with you in a few minutes when we get to the shirt. But I just kind of like to freehand things. I don't know, that's just how I roll. So if you guys, like I said, if you have a pattern that you like, you go for it. This is a very soft felt. I got this at Hobby Lobby. I believe it was 67 cents. I would not recommend using the really stiff felt. So I got a variety pack at Amazon, and it was very stiff, and I did try to make the shirt out of that on my first go around, and it was not good, you guys. So that's why I showed you the fabric. You're gonna need like a cotton fabric for the shirt instead. I'm just showing you a stitch here, just so you get the general idea of how I stitch my clothing usually. And then we're also gonna show you how to do the finish. So when you do the finish, you're gonna finish it with a normal stitch, and then you're going to basically put the needle through the excess thread. See, I'm holding it with my thumb there, and you're going to make a knot. And I do that like 2 or 3 times just to make sure that it's not going to come undone. And you guys, if it comes undone, it's not the worst thing in the world. You just plop a little hot glue on there and you're good to go. Like I said, we're not here to stress out. We're here to have fun and make sure that, we have some creative ideas for our elf. So don't stress out about it. It's all good. And then I'm gonna go ahead and turn those inside out so that the stitching isn't showing as much. And truth be told, it showed, so it's all good. It's fine. I'm sure if I used the sewing machine, it would be a little bit better, but I'm not there yet. Now, I'm gonna say, you'll notice that the pants around the waist, it's a little bit on the bigger side. You want that because you're gonna be tucking in your shirt and also the suspenders, so don't worry about that. You need a little bit of room for that to happen. Okay, so we have our orange craft foam. I got this again from Amazon. I just bought a bulk pack because I knew I was going to be using it a lot, and I'm cutting 3 long strips. So this is going to make the bow tie, the suspenders, and a little bit extra is going to be left over for the hat and also the shoe coverings. So we're gonna do the suspenders. They're gonna be crossed in the back. So basically I just wanna make sure that I have enough room so that they are both gonna be tucking in from the front and the back. And once that's done, we're just gonna glue a little dot in the middle so that that cross stays. And I would love it if you guys like what you see, if you can like, subscribe, and comment on my videos. Like I said, I'm new to this, so I think I have, some interesting ideas on how to level up our elves, and I'd love to know if you like what you see. Okay, so I'm just showing you for the bow tie, it's approximately 4 inches around, and that's gonna go around the neck, and then about 2 inches for the actual bow part. Okay, so we have the bow, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fold it in half so I can get like the midpoint there, and then we're just going to fold the ends into the middle point and hot glue that. And I had somebody comment about my nails. Thank you. I do them myself. I use the dip powder. I actually just buy one of those cheap kits from Amazon. Love it. I think it was like 26 bucks. It came with everything I needed, a bunch of different colors, and I follow, oh my gosh, what's her name? I think it's Marla Chris on YouTube, and she is fabulous. I really, really love her. She's good for beginner people who want to use dip powder. Okay, so anyways, back to the video. We're just kind of pushing the little bows out to make sure that they're not flattened down. And then we're gonna use one more little piece, and that's gonna wrap the strap of the bow tie to the bow itself. I'm just putting it on a piece of wax paper while it dries. Okay, so you'll see, like I said, we're just gonna attach the two together. And again, I'm just folding it in half to get the midpoint. You don't have to go crazy, just make sure it's approximate so that when you wrap it around the elf's neck, it's not sticking out on the side. And just make sure that the piece that you have that's wrapping the bow to the strap is a little bit skinnier so you don't cover up the entire bow. Okay, so we're just gonna hot glue that down. And I'll just say that hot glue is amazing with this craft foam. It really does stick. I don't know if it melts it a little bit, but there's something about it that it really does a good job adhering the two pieces together. So don't waste your time with sewing or using regular craft glue. Just try the hot glue if you can, and it's a really good option because it dries quickly and it really does stick. okay, I'm just taking a peek, making sure it looks good from the front, and I'm just gonna chop off that little excess there so I can glue it down. Alright, and that's how that turned out. Now we're going to move on to the glasses. So again, we're just using that same craft foam. Now the top piece there, that is a printable from, I think I punched in like photo props. If you don't have a pair of e.l.f. sunglasses or glasses that you can trace from, that is a good option. It's basically the same size. So Google e.l.f. on the shelf photo props and you'll be able to find a pair of glasses of some sort that you can trace around. You just have to cut it out first. So it's an extra step. But I just traced around the craft foam with an orange marker. Now keep in mind, you'll notice when I cut it out the first time, when you trace around it, it's obviously going to give you bigger lines, so you're going to have to kind of cut inside those once you're done. You'll see what I mean. I'm not explaining it very well, but it's just going to make your lines fatter. So once I get inside the lenses, you can't really see the e.l.f.'s eyes if I just cut it out the way that it is. So I'm going to have to manipulate it a little bit so that she can peek through them and she can see. And you'll see what I'm saying when I hold it up to the e.l.f. See, the inside is much smaller than the other one, so we're just gonna have to kind of work at it until we get it the way that we like it. And I would recommend using these teeny tiny scissors. I got these at Dollar Tree, and they're in the crafting section. So while I'm doing this, I'll kind of tally up how much I spent. So the craft foam, it's super cheap. I got it from Amazon, like I said, and I think I got like a 50 pack for less than $10. Might be a little bit more, but I also got the felt for 67 cents. So let's just round up here to $2 for the foam and the felt. And then I got the fabric for the shirt at Dollar Tree for $1.25. So I think altogether I spent about $3.25. Now I'm just showing you, you're gonna want to glue the arms of the glasses together, so you'll see what I mean. You kind of want them to bend a certain way so they stay on your e.l.f.'s face, otherwise they're going to flop out. So put a tiny bit of glue and just hold it in place, and we're going to be using glue dots to secure that to the e.l.f. anyways, but that just makes it a little bit easier. Now we're going to measure the hat. So I just have this handy. I always keep it. It's a little hat pattern, I guess, because I make a lot of hats. So I think it's 6 3/4 inches long. That's how long you're going to want that strip of orange fabric to be. And then you saw the protractor is set to 2 inches, and you're just going to get 2 blue and 2 orange. I only had one of each sheet, so I just did it twice. In reality, you probably could have had it a little bit shorter, but I wanted to make sure I had enough room. So we're gonna cut each one of these in half to make 8. And then we're going to use hot glue to glue them together. And you're gonna alternate colors. So I'm just showing you, you're gonna put a piece or a strip of hot glue there and glue it together, and try your best to kind of place it from the top down so any excess hot glue will be on the underside of the hat. And I'm going to be showing you in a second. Once this part is done, you're going to be taking your scissors and you're going to be cutting up through each one of those pie pieces about halfway. And that's how we're going to start to fold the hat so that it creates almost like a chef's hat look. Because craft foam is a little different than fabric. You can't just scrunch it together. It won't work that way. So you have to cut it so that you can manipulate it. So there we go, we're cutting it about halfway. And now you're going to glue one corner to the next. So I'm just folding it real quick just to get the shape. Make sure it's good the way I like it. Looks good to me. And you're going to glue one corner to the next. You'll see I show you here. One corner to the first one and then over to the seam there. And you're going to do that all the way around. Now, I think when I edited the video, unfortunately, I kind of cut out a super important part here. So you're going to, like I said, glue all 8 of those the way that they are. And you'll see me do that. But what you don't see is that I do trim off that bottom part there. So the part that has that point about halfway up is going to stay. And then the bottom point is going to be cut off. I hope I'm making sense there. It's basically about 1/4 of an inch you're going to be taking off the bottom just by cutting it. Once this is all glued down and dried, you're going to take about a 1/4 inch off the bottom. The reason being because you're going to be adding that trim around the hat. And the elf's head is going to be too big if you keep that 1/4 inch. So see, I hope you can see what I did. I just cut about that 1/4 inch off, and now I'm adding the brim, okay? And you can see here that bottom part was already cut off, so I apologize for that, but hopefully I'm explaining it well enough so you understand. Okay, now you're just going to join the 2 ends together and make sure you glue the seam. And now that top part, I think it needed a little something because there was a little bit of dead space peeking through. So I just cut a circle and put that on top. Okay, so now we're gonna do the shirt. Like I said, this was the second time I did it because the first time I used the felt and it was just way too stiff. It just didn't work well. So please use a cotton fabric, or if you're going to use felt, you're gonna want to just make sure that you cut down the back all the way, and you might have to secure it with something different. Okay, now this was the form that I used. I got it from a website, Wild and Wanderful, WANDERFUL. I do not own this form. This I printed off from somebody else, and it is a free printable. So please, please, please go to her website and use this for yourself. It made my job so much easier. So we'll see, maybe going forward I might be using these sewing patterns because, you know, it just makes it easy. I just had to iron out my fabric and I'm just tracing around it. Now the top part where the sleeves are, you're gonna want to fold right there because that way you do not have to sew the top part of the shirt. It's already formed together, if that makes sense. So fold your fabric in half with the collar part together, and then you're going to go ahead and cut out your shirt. And like I said, please, please, please iron the shirt first because otherwise your seams are gonna look wonky. I just cut the collar part out, and we are going to be cutting down the middle here because it is a button-up shirt, and either way your elf's head is not going to get through that tiny opening, so you have to open it somehow. And I just decided to make the seam in the front because it's a button down shirt that Blippi wears. Okay, so I'm probably not doing this right at all. Like I said, I am not a sewer, but this was what makes sense to me. So I wanted to make sure that I held the shirt in place while I was sewing because I am hand sewing this. So I just put the pins where the seams were of where I was not going to be sewing. So basically you are sewing from the bottom of the sleeve down to the bottom corners of the shirt, and the parts that I have pinned, those are not going to be sewn because obviously the elves' arms and body have to go through them. So this just kept everything in place while I was handling it and sewing, and it just made it a little bit easier. I'm sewing the same exact way that I did with the pants. So I'm speeding it up here a little bit, but I'm just showing you what I'm doing, and if it, make sure that the pin doesn't get in your way. And you could probably just flip it around if you find that it does, because it might catch the thread. But I just did this all the way down the one side. I finished it and made a knot, and then I started a new piece of thread on the other side of the shirt. And here I'm just showing you how I finished it off again. Same thing, you're just going to put the needle through and you're going to basically make a knot at the end 2 or 3 times, going through that loop so that it's now secure, and hopefully it doesn't come undone once you turn the shirt right side out. And I apologize if I'm talking in a way that I'm taking breaks because my brain, I have ADHD, so my brain sometimes doesn't work as quickly as I like it to. So I apologize for that. I'm doing the best that I can. Okay, so we're all done with our sewing. Now we're going to take the pins out and we are going to turn it right side out. Okay, and that's the way it looks. So like I said, we're going to cut down the middle. What I did was, again, I folded it in half to make sure that I had a clue as to where the middle was. I mean, like I said, this doesn't have to be perfect, but it takes 2 seconds to fold the shirt in half and get a good line, so why not? Okay, so we're just gonna put it on our little elf, just for fit. And what I have here are Velcro crafting circles. So I get these at Dollar Tree. They're fastener dots, and I know they make strips. I don't think they have them at Dollar Tree, but I could be wrong. But I just need one of them because these are way too fat to put on there like that. We need tiny strips, so I'm gonna cut one off. I'm gonna put them together so that, you know, they're adhered, and then I'm gonna cut that into 4, so it goes all the way down the shirt. Now, you're just gonna keep them together as you adhere them to the shirt. Reason being, it just makes sure that they line up once you put the hot glue on each one of them. So just keep them adhered together. You'll do one side of the shirt first, and then you'll take the backing off of the other side and then go ahead and hot glue the other side to it. If you separate them, they may not line up in the end, so this is just the easy way to do it. And don't worry about using the hot glue on this shirt. It's not going to show through on the top layer of this once you glue those in place. So I was a little bit worried about it, but I did use a little tester on a scrap piece of this fabric, and it was fine. So I knew it was going to look fine. If it didn't, I probably would have just put this towards the back. Okay. Now we can take it on and off easily. So now that that's done, we are going to go ahead and we're going to get our elf dressed up like Blippi. So we're going to do the suspenders first. The glue dots I got again at Dollar Tree, and I'm just gluing all of this with those. Do not use hot glue because then you can't take it off and put it back on. You could probably do that with the suspenders because they're going to be attached to the shirt anyways. So if you want to do that, feel free. But you know, obviously with the other things, don't use hot glue on your elf because, you know, they cost a lot of money and you don't want big pieces of hot glue on it. So I just used those glue dots on the ear pieces there, and I positioned them on our elf the way that I wanted them to go, and I think it looks pretty good. Now we're going to do the bow tie. Now the bow tie, you do not need to use the glue dot fasteners. The neck is positioned in a way where you could just tuck those under there. And I'm just showing you, it's helpful to put a glue dot on top of the elf's hat if you have that secured, so that you can hold it down and that the hat doesn't go in a strange place. These blue shoes, those I got from Amazon. They came in a pack of, I believe, 6. You're going to just search finger shoes. I think people use them like, you know, with skateboards and stuff like that, but they fit the elf perfectly. And I am just using the orange craft foam to dress those up because Blippis are that light blue and also the orange. So I'm just basically trying to get that back piece covered with the craft foam. So I cut 2 pieces out. This is obviously going to vary with whatever shoes you're using, but you're just going to cut it at an angle, and I just freehanded this. Put both together and we're just going to go for it. And again, we just use the glue dots to secure those. I did one in the back by the heel, and then I did one on either side towards the front so that it would stay in place. the exception of the shoes. I think, like I said, this craft cost about $3.25. With the shoes, I think, how much did I pay for those? I want to say like $15 for 6 pairs. It might have been a little less. But yeah, I think it was $12.99 actually for 6 pairs. So about $2 a pair, a little bit over. And I have to tell you, we use these for our elves always. There's a black pair, a red pair. It just so happened that it came with the sky blue pair. So totally worth the money if you want to invest in those, and it helps kind of keep them upright also. And I'm just showing you the finished product. I'm really, really happy with the way that this turned out. And if your kids love Blippi like mine does, then you're gonna love this and they're gonna just geek out over this. So I hope you guys love it. If you like what I'm doing, please, please, please give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment, let me know if you like what you see. And please consider subscribing so that you can kind of get other ideas of unique things to do with your elf. Thanks, guys. Enjoy.